Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup. Win conditions, Chengdu Hunters edition. So, we move to the team that is occupying the last place in the play-ins right now. And that is albeit on map differential. So, it's not even that. Actually, it's actually not even that. You can't separate Chengdu and Guangzhou right now, who are basically joint 12th. So, it's an interesting one. Chengdu. Things looked interesting at the start of the season for Chengdu. They were running some crazy stuff, and they were catching everyone off guard, and they got some freak wins. And they got a freak win last stage against San Francisco Shurk, which has really aided their cause. But they're going to have to get some more freak wins this stage if they want to continue and try and get into those play-ins, because their stage is by no means easy. So, in Week 1, they will take on the Philadelphia Fusion and the Boston Uprising. Now, this is an interesting one. Philadelphia Fusion, and we already know it's a must-win game for them. Boston Uprising is also a must-win game for them. So, there's a lot at stake even in just Week 1 for the Chengdu Hunters here. They need to at least get a win over Boston. I mean, really, they need to get a win over Fusion as well, which is not going to be easy. But Chengdu beat San Francisco Shock last stage, so it's definitely doable. And in a DPS meta, it's kind of playing into Chengdu's hands, although it is kind of playing into Fusion's hands as well. So, you could get any combination in Week 1, really. You could have them go 2-0, you could have them go 1-1, you could have them go 0-2, but if they do go 0-2 in the first week of Stage 4, then you are starting to ask questions of whether the Hunters are going to actually reach the play-ins. In Week 2, this is where, the hammer comes down in some respects. They play the Los Angeles Gladiators and the New York Excelsior. Yeah, I told you it was tough. The Gladiators, they could honestly surprise the Gladiators. New York, different ballgame. The only thing that could work in Chengdu's favour here is if New York have already sealed up a second seed. There is that possibility, I believe, by then. Or they'll at least definitely have secured themselves into the playoffs. So, there is a possibility that New York might sandbag that game and open up the door for Chengdu. But you really, if you're looking at the paper here, you're thinking 0-2 for Week 2 for Chengdu. Then you move on to Week 3 and they play the Hangzhou Spark. It doesn't get any easier, does it? Hangzhou, they've got good DPS players, but we've yet to see them in action in the Overwatch League properly, so I have some question marks about the Spark, but I know they have capable DPS players. Hunters, we have already seen a DPS in action. We know they can do the job. So, I still think Hangzhou will come out on top of this. So, that's 3 losses on the board already. If you count the Fusion, that's 4 losses, and all of a sudden it's looking a bit down in the dumps for the Chengdu Hunters. Moving on, Week 4. Yep, it's still not getting any easier. San Francisco Shock and the Houston Outlaws. So, they have a track record that they beat the San Francisco Shock last stage, but the San Francisco Shock said that they weren't properly prepared for that match, they didn't really treat it properly, and I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice. Especially as they're not in a solid position like the Excelsior and the Vancouver Titans are at the top of the league. So, there's a potential for an upset, but I think it's more unlikely than it was previously. However, the game against the Houston Outlaws is a must-win. It's absolutely concrete must-win. I think the games against Fusion, against Boston, and against Houston, they have to go down as wins, or Chengdu are struggling already. They don't play in the Kit Kat rivalry weekend. So, if I was being optimistic for Chengdu here, I would be saying they would go 3 wins, 4 losses this stage. That, I don't think we'll see them into the play-ins. I think they will miss out. It'll be very close. But looking at the teams around them, the form they're hitting, the teams they've got to play, I don't know. It depends whether some teams can match the form that they produced in Stage 3. If they don't, then this might actually change. But again, because we're going into Triple 2, we've got no idea what's going to be played, so it's very hard to predict anything. Remember at the start of the season when no one's predictions were right? Because it was just literally impossible to predict anything? we're going back to that because we just don't know what people are going to run. You know, we just don't know. If we're gonna run Oink and Yoink, the whole hook, if it's a Roadhog, then some teams will be more dominant than if we were in Dive. So, who knows? Who knows? But Chengdu Hunters, it's certainly looking iffy. That's all I can say. It's looking iffy. But the Chengdu Hunters have the quality to pull this off. It's just a question of which Chengdu Hunters turn up. Is it the Chengdu Hunters that have stunned a lot of teams during the league this year? Or is it the Chengdu Hunters that are just trundling along mid-league and they're not going to get past the likes of Fusion? And if they can't get past the Fusion, I don't think it's going to be a particularly bright stage for the Hunters. But those were your win conditions for the Chengdu Hunters. Up next is a team that I think, even though they have a difficult schedule, could really cause some upsets. There's a Guangzhou Charge up next. And, yeah, DPS for the Guangzhou Charge. Should be interesting. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.